Tunaingia vijijini, mijini na hata jijini kukuletea taarifa mchana kutwa. Usiku tunaketi kitako, tunadadavua tukichanganua taarifa na makala muhimu yanayokuhusu wewe na familia yako. Ungana na Bernard Ngozi kwenye Open Forum Political Show kuanzia saa 4 usiku hadi dakika zake kila siku ya wiki kwenye
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are glad you're watching. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candid Talk, Open Forum Political Discussion Show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, a lot has gone down, some of it pleasing, some of it depressing, and mixed responses from different Kenyans around the country, especially on the state of the nation and the kind of governance that we are being treated to by the William Ruto administration. Well, we can see some, some areas having parties and rejoicing for appointments, and other areas are quiet altogether. But of great interest is the outcome of the appeal of Moses Wetang'ula about him continuing to be the Speaker of National Assembly, as well as the party leader of for the Kenya. The court will have none of it. He says he will have to choose one. Then, of course, on the same issue, his declaration of Kenya Kwanza as the majority in parliament has also been overturned, and the status quo remains, meaning what the law stipulates, that is what must remain. And that is the majority and the minority are not determined by the speaker. They are not determined by the registrar of political party, but it's determined by Kenyans when they go out there and vote. On the day of voting, who got the most of representatives in parliament before changes took place, before anyone crossed from one place to another. That is what determines the majority and the minority. And so as it stands right now, Azimio is still the majority, regardless of what Wetang'ula and team are trying to fabricate and try to make Kenyans believe. Now, this doesn't come as news for those of you who've been following the political situation in the country. We have all along known that Azimio is the majority, and there is enough evidence to prove that Azimio won the elections at all levels, and it's only the devils that interfered with the outcome of the elections. And so part of what we are suffering is because of that constant interference of election results, when the Kenyans have voted one way and the so-called clique of powers that be who don't like where Kenyans have voted to, they turn it into something that they would prefer. And this has been going on from 2007, 2013, 2017, 2022, and if you don't take your time, even 2027, it may just repeat itself. And that's why I'm a very concerned citizen of this country. The way we are going about the removing of William Ruto, we are playing right into his trap. And if we don't take our time and take serious about the responsibility of changing this country, we will end up where we have always ended to. We do the campaign, we do the sensitization, we go out there and vote, but our vote doesn't count. But I want us to, to look at this about this Wetang'ula fiasco. Wetang'ula is not a layman. Wetang'ula is a senior lawyer, okay? And his understanding of the law, he needs not only to be, teaching us the law, but, helping even the president understand the law. Now, if he's the one leading into appealing things that he already knows, and he knows what the law says, then it goes without saying that he's so much twisted in his relationship with the law that he doesn't care what the law says. He will want to have his way or the highway. Now, this has gone on for too long, and it's been a huge problem in our country that we must seek a permanent solution. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to appreciate every one of you for your faithful following. Please, let's be on the forefront as we start this conversation. Share the video widely, invite more people to join. Let's have a conversation that will help us make sense of our politics as we ease life for the masses. I've been away for long, but I'm here now. Let's do business. Make sure that you do what you must do, and that is help somebody locate us. I know there are those who've been looking for us and didn't find, and there are others who are still looking for us from the old channel. They keep calling and ask where we went. Please update them, okay? Update them, share the link with them, let them find us, and let's have the conversation. Well, as we look at the Wetang'ula stories and his losing at the courts, there is another new development, and that is the governors are threatening to shut down all the counties in 14 days if William Ruto and team do not desist from what they are doing, and that is deviate money meant for counties into their so-called presidential allocations. It is, it's clear that the Ruto administration want to endear itself to especially the members of parliament, and I think it looks like a safeguard approach to try and diffuse in case there will be a call for his impeachment. So he wants to be cozy with the parliamentarians so that when his name is called and he has to be impeached, he may have somebody to defend him. And so there has been a misappropriation of the public funds that are meant for counties into allocations like NGCDF, whereby now William Ruto says instead of the money going to the counties directly, we can divide some of it to go through the CDF. And the CDF has its own allocation. I think it used to, Kibaki's time, it was 2% of the national budget. I don't know what it is today. It is very different from counties, okay? Counties get, is still at 15% or more. And so why should he be creating this kind of confusion? Is it a calculated means of killing counties? Because this is how it looks to be. And William Ruto being the person who is addicted to seeking attention and wanting to be needed and wanting to be in everything, he would be better off if all the counties grounded to a halt until everything is now reverted back to the central government. And now he becomes the Papa Christmas to distribute anything and everything everyone needs in the country. Now, where are you in support of what's happening? What sinister motive are you seeing in what William Ruto is doing in the aspect of members of parliament being given allocations instead of the money being channeled through the constitutional means, which is to the counties? Then the counties will, superintend and ensure that the people participate into the development of their county. What is this that is going on in the head and in the mind of William Ruto in his attempt of setting the members of parliament against governors or governors against members of parliament? Is it a political game? Is it that he wants to waste time as he now volunteers to sort the difference between the governors and the members of parliament? And of course, when that is happening, there is time wasting, there is resource wasting, and of course, the collapsing of counties will begin one after the other. I would want to bring this up even as I wait for you to join in the conversation. Counties are not new. Those of you who've been around for a while, this is not the first time we're having counties, okay? The name counties, yes, but we used to have what was called Majimbo. It was the first federal government that was immediately after the colonial administration. And it all stopped from things like this. So when I'm talking about William Ruto calculating on how to kill counties, I am not just talking it out of hot air, out of, far-fetched imagination. The Jomo Kenyatta administration killed the Majimbo with one stroke of a pen. Okay? One was to deprive them of the funding so that they begin to struggle. Okay? Then in the process, it was now concluded that there's no money to sustain those counties. So let everything go back to where? To Nairobi. Now, when you look at the pattern of William Ruto and his moves, as far as the devolution is concerned and as far as counties are concerned, you can see clearly that there's somebody here who is not committed to counties, and he sees counties as a wastage of resources, and therefore he would want to superintend over those resources as the one and only. I think William Ruto is obsessed with the Moi presidents. He wants to be the Moi of today, the number one farmer, the number one husband, the number one father, the number one chancellor of university, the number one road constructor, the number one outgoing, incoming, and everything. He wants to be that imperial president who is worshipped. And in his craving to be worshipped, he's now getting into the place where he's destroying institution after another. Now, this is not smelling well. This is not going down well. And if we're going to save this country and we're going to secure this country, we must insist on the constitutional way of operation. This administration seems to be forgetting that there's a constitution that's supposed to govern this country, and that constitution is supreme to anybody's desire, to anybody's preference, to anybody's liking. So if we suspend the constitution in favor of somebody's preference or somebody's liking or somebody's newfound love affair, that in itself goes into putting the country in danger. And that's one place that we must guard as a people. And so what's happening with counties is not pleasant. And listening to the governors, there is a lot that is happening that should not be happening. There is a video we're going to play later on where Governor Natembeya talks about we've been pretending that counties are doing well, but now we are coming out and saying, no, this thing is not working the way we've been telling you it's working. And so the pretenses are over, the honeymoon is over, everybody needs to face whatever it is that they need to face. So what do you see with the William Ruto moves? Is this one way of killing counties? And what will become to those places where they had never seen a tarmac road until there was devolution? They had never seen a build school until there was devolution. How are these places going to be developed when you let William Ruto succeed in closing up counties by starving them of funding? Remember, that's the same style that Jomo Kenyatta used to close Majimbo. And now it appears he wants to play the same script in finishing counties. What is your take? The link to use to get in the studio is already in the comment section. Please click on it. Allow StreamYard to configure for you the camera as well as the audio. And let us do our discussion openly, soundly, and clearly. I want to encourage as many as possible. Please make sure that you share the link widely. Get more people to join. Sound Candy Talk, watu wajaingia. Sound Candy Talk live, tuko watu wapi? 12. Can we grow the number? Facebook, naona ni mtu mmoja ama wawili. TikTok tukoaje huko? Sijaona likes. Ebu let's like the video. Let's share the live, please. Let's get more people to participate into this great conversation. Well, as we look at the governors and their threat to shut down in 14 days, William Ruto has planned a 7-day tour to Mount Kenya. And you know, Mount Kenya is a hot potato at this point in time, as far as the William Ruto administration is concerned. So what is this? Is William Ruto taking the war to Wamnyoro's doorstep? And will he get away with it? Or the mountain is going to be slippery and he may not make much inroads? What is your take? Is it necessary for William Ruto to make this Mount Kenya tour? Is it the most urgent and the most important move that he should be making at this point in time? Or it is just a political move? And is it viable? Muniambie, mimi nasubiri. Esa Stall na kuona, karibu. Tuni our PS, karibu. Rugged Ward, karibu. Kuna Peter Davis, karibu. Asante sana. Naomba tafadhali tumakinike kukaribishana na tuingie studio tukajadili masuala haya. Sijui mnaogopa nini? Njoo hapa mkaseme yote, tutawasikiliza. Ni wajibu wetu kama Wakenya kusemezana na kuelewanwa. Masuala ya inaitwa nini, kuwa wanafiki wakati tunaona mambo yanaharibika, tunaendelea kucheka tu, tukiconvince dunia kwamba everything is all right. Kwetu wanasema anaificha mgonjwa basi. Kilio wakati huyo amekata roho kitafichua kwamba kulikuwa na mgonjwa kwa nyumba hii. So huu sio wakati wa wewe kuwa mnafiki na kuanza kusema mambo yale ambayo watu wangependa kusikia. Tuseme mambo ambayo yanafaa, na kama kuna kuvunjaji wa sheria tuseme sheria imevunjwa. Kama kuna kuhujumu katiba tuseme katiba imehujumiwa. Kama kuna mtu ambaye anapanga kuharibu ugatuzi, basi tuseme fulani ana hujumu nini, ugatuzi, ili ieleweke. Wakati mambo yatakuwa yameharibika, tutajua ni nani wa kulaumu. Na katika suala hili Wakenya haswa, lawama nyingi itakuwa juu yetu. Okay? Lawama nyingi itakuwa juu yetu. Kwa nini hatujifunzi kutoka kwa historia? Tunapuuza historia. Wengine wetu hapa tunachukia historia, na yule ambaye hatajifunza kutoka kwa historia hawezi kunuzurika kutokana na kurudia hiyo historia. So kama hatutajifunza, tuanze kuweka mikakati ya kuhakikisha kwamba nchi hii tutaiokoa hivi na tutaikomboa hivi. Tunataka tu kupiga siasa, tunataka tu kulumbana na kulaumiana, basi muda utayoyoma, tutafika kwa kura zingine, na wakati tutafika kwa kura zingine tutakuwa mahali hapo ambako tumeibiwa 2007, tukaibiwa 2013, tukaibiwa 2017, tukaibiwa 2022, tena tunajiandaa kuibiwa 2027. That is what we are doing, because if we don't change the approach, we cannot improve on our results. We must have a different way to go about making a government, or rather putting together a government that is indeed a government that is pro-people, a government that is by the people, and a government that is going to indeed serve the people. If that is not put in place, then you're expecting too much to a government that has been placed there by a few people, has been put together to serve particular interest, has been hijacked by the cartels that are running the show in terms of controlling the economic situation in the country. And as long as you're not on that table, you will be on the menu. And that is what has happened to this country, that Kenyans have remained on the menu and not on the table. And that's why I'm asking, do you still want to remain on the menu and not be on the table? By the way you are thinking, by the way you are talking, by the way you are focusing. Because people are caught into trivialities, Okay, trivialities, nani amesalimiana na nani, sijui inamaanisha nini, kwa nini ODM imechukua viti za serikali. Niliwaambia ODM sio chama cha Uganda, ODM ni chama cha Kenya. Okay, na kila Mkenya ana nafasi ya, akipewa nafasi ya kuhudumu katika serikali, hiyo nafasi ni ya Wakenya, sio nafasi ya wageni. Okay, na mimi sioni kuvunja sheria kokote wakati Mkenya anachukuliwa aseme nenda ukafanye kazi hapa, na kama kuna mtu wa kulaumu, basi yule anaisimamia hayo maswala apewe nini, hiyo lawama. Lakini sisi tunataka tu kucheza siasa yetu ya kufanya nini, ya kulaumiana na kutukanana na kuonekana kwamba ukisema fulani ni mjinga, wewe unaonekana mwerevu. So hiyo yote lazima turuke ili tupone, or else we are going to find ourselves where we have been always. That is, we are ready for change, but when it is time for change, we are returned where we have been as usual. So it is time for you to choose. Are you going to be part of the solution, or are you going to be a perennial problem to the forward marching of the country, and then of course sorting out whatever has gone wrong with our country? Can we get more people to join, please? I don't know where people have gone. Is it that usingizi umeshuka ama kuna blackout? We have had a blackout in this part, and it wasn't pleasant. We had a very long 24 hours in darkness. So probably kuna wale ambao mko na blackout. Tuambie kama mko na blackout pia, tujue kama tutatuma Songo Rescue Team ama Wandai Rescue Team. Kwangu mimi nataka wewe unaambie ili swala linaendaje, okay? Ili swala linaendaje na wewe unasimamia lipi katika mambo haya yote, kwa sababu tusipojisatiti kukomboa nchi hii hakuna vile itakombolewa, na tusiposimama kidete kuhakikisha kwamba kile ambacho nchi hii imekusudiwa kukipata tunahakikisha kwamba kinatendeka kulingana na sheria, tutakuwa bado mzigo wakati tunapaswa kuwa suluhisho kwa yale ambayo yanakumba nchi yetu. Kwa hivyo nakuomba tu njoo tukasemezane, njoo tukaelewanwe, ili kila mmoja wetu apate nafasi ya kusema vile anavyoona, and then of course from there we are going to be concluding on matters Kenya and how Kenya must move forward. The politics at play right now is very confusing, and that is why I wouldn't want anybody to run into conclusions. Going through some social media posts, you will notice that there is a spirited effort of pushing a particular narrative, and that narrative is geared towards making Kenyans give up on their quest to make this country work, on their quest to change this country. And if you let them succeed, then they will have succeeded. But if you will give yourself committedly in ensuring that whatever it is that we must get fixed in this country is fixed, we will end up with that fixed Kenya. But if you buy into there is nothing we can do, we have no strength to fight, and things like that, that attitude, we will miss out big time. And we may just find ourselves victims again, like I have warned previously. Well, let's get this video so that as I wait for you to join the conversation, naomba usicheze mbali, hakikisha uko hapa, alafu tuelewane. Tuanze na hiyo story ya Wetang'ula, alafu tutaingilia swala la magavana.
Our sign language interpreter tonight is Marisha Witi, and we begin the corridors of justice. Tonight, the Court of
Appeal, after the Court of Appeal declined to suspend a High Court ruling that had declared Azimio la Umoja as the majority in the National Assembly.
Following your instruction.
In his argument, Wetang'ula had indicated that the ruling had severely disrupted parliamentary operations. However, the Court of Appeal dismissed the claim, clarifying that there was no sufficient proof that legislative business had been paralyzed. The court further ruled that granting a stay order would amount to prematurely endorsing the Speaker's decision, as the High Court had yet to determine whether it complied with the earlier judgment.
Honorable Speaker.
However, the Court of Appeal declined to pronounce itself on the matter regarding Wetang'ula's dual role as a Speaker of the National Assembly and the leader of Ford Kenya.
Mbele Odhiambo, take the floor.
The Friday's ruling comes a month after the Nairobi High Court declared Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition as majority in the National Assembly, adding that Wetang'ula had violated the law in granting the majority leadership to Kenya Kwanza. Elsewhere, the Supreme Court has affirmed the Court of Appeal's order outlawing 3 laws passed by the National Assembly without the Senate's consensus. The Supreme Court bench unanimously agreed that the 3 laws, the Equalization Fund, the Circle Societies Amendment Law, and the amendment of the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority Act, needed to be passed by senators and were thus unconstitutionally enacted. However, they gave Parliament an 18-month grace period to amend the Circle Societies Act 2018, as the law affected co-operations of saving societies. According to them, the problem was the procedure, not the substance of the law, and hence it did not have any extensive effect on the affected parties. Bramwell Bire, KTN.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Wetang'ula's appeal to have stay orders on the declaration of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya being the majority and Kenya Kwanza being the minority in parliament has been thwarted. And so he has no choice but to comply with the ruling. Now, we don't know whether this will go to the Supreme Court, but in my opinion, it will be a waste of time and waste of resources going to seek advice on matters you already know their conclusion. And this is, I would say, cultural, cultural in the sense that we are used to this aspect of the functioning of the government, where we buy time. Those of you that are younger, maybe I will need to remind you that you have had the debate about why the presidential what is it called? The presidential petition, okay, against the person declared a winner by IEBC was in the constitution placed at 14 days. There was a reason behind it, and the really reason behind it was that in the past there was no that time frame, and so Moi will rig himself into office. You will go to the court to file your petition, and your petition will be dilly-dallying until he serves 5 years. I mean, that case is still alive, but the person is in office functioning. And so one of the reasons why they had to put those 14 days, which is now a matter of discussion at the moment, they would love it reviewed so that there is sufficient time for those submissions and arguing out of the case. But I just want to remind us is that that putting a gap was required, was to save time and also ensure that justice is done to the grieved party. What has not really worked in our time, and it's very sad that we created a whole Supreme Court out of that particular aspect, that the judiciary had been made an extension of the executive, and whatever the executive wanted is what the judiciary did, and going for justice in the judiciary was a nightmare. But because of that, there was a creation of the Supreme Court. And so the Supreme Court exists first and foremost to ensure that what has gone wrong with the magistrate court, what has gone wrong with the High Court, what has gone wrong with the Court of Appeal is fixed. And that is a return to the rule of law. What I don't get is that our current Supreme Court seems not to be understanding that their decisions and their operations are supposed to all be in the interest of the Kenyan and in the enforcement of the rule of law. Some are just in that court to earn a salary and, keep surviving. And in my opinion, that is a huge let down as Kenyans, because we can't have those 7 judges, instead of them protecting Kenyans and safeguarding the interests of Kenyans, especially in the constitution, they are busy being used to subvert the same constitution and the same law that is supposed to be used to defend and protect Kenyans. And so the sad reality is that successive governments have been very clever in trying to defeat justice by making those unnecessary appeals and causing delay on matters that can be concluded so that we move forward. And so if from the Court of Appeal, you see Wetang'ula going to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says we'll hear that case in 5 months, like they did. This matter of majority minority should have been decided 2 years ago. They still delayed 2 years later is when they are giving what? A ruling. All of that are still part of the statecraft, the corruption of the administration in trying to defeat justice by delaying the delivery of the same. And so I want to invite us into this reality so that when we are fighting these vices of trying to subvert the law and make Kenyans continue to suffer, we should see it as a pattern and a systematic way of operation. If you deal with it as one act or just as a mistake or just one happening, then you miss the point. And that's why you get beaten every time. And so as Kenyans, we need to cast our nets widely and have our understanding spread across so that we can draw lessons from history, from the current happenings, and then be able to secure the future. Welcome on board, everyone. Please, let's get more people to join in the conversation as we like the video. And then, of course, give the video a thumbs up. Respond to the poll question. We are asking whether Wetang'ula should relinquish the leadership of Port Kenya and be the speaker, or relinquish the speaker and go and be the leader of Ford Kenya. What is your take on the same? We would want to hear you are giving on the same. Thank you very much. Mwana mama amefika. Mama, hali vipi?
Poa Penat, niko kasini, unaweza sikia kelele, but nimesema niingie kidogo tu ama nisikize.
Sawa sawa, sema moja mbili alafu tunakuelewa.
Yeah, naona mambo ya Supreme Court vile wameongea, and is that a Supreme Court ama, because nilikuwa nasikia ati anangoja kwenda gani tena.
It is Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal.
Yeah, Court of Appeal, and then they want hata akienda Supreme Court the same, so because ile High Court waliamua Bernard, it is the same. Ngoja kidogo.
Sorry mami, wewe chapa kazi tutaongea.
No, ni sawa tu ni kidogo. So tunawaambia Wetang'ula akubali, ama kwa sababu imekuwa ni yeye aliambiwa na Ruto atisonte party. Saa hii kama angekuwa ameingia UDA vile Mudavadi alifunja yake, angesaendelea kuwa speaker kwa sababu atakuwa wameungana ODM na hawa. But you see now alikataa. Saa zingine ucheuri ni mzuri, saa ingine ucheuri ni mbaya. Naona vijana, kuna vijana wengi wamejitokeza, sijui ni group kani. Naona JNC sasa wanachikawanya kwa magroup. Wanasema hawataki hiyo watu wamechakuliwa kwa IPC. Again, walipeana majina. Naona watu wanalalamika penat kulingana na nomination imefanywa na Raila na Uhuru. Now, if Ruto anataka government ifanyike, Raila hawezi watch outside, he has to put these people inside, hili kama ni kurekebisha inji iweze kurekebisha, kwa sababu Huwezi enda chukua mtoto ya mtu na umwambie akufanyie kazi. So I think for him nominating the people was good. Wacha kazi iendelee. Nilikuwa nasikia wengine wakisema Ndindi Nyoro ameambia watu ya Central wanyamaze and watch. Yeah, let them be quiet. Wacha serikali ifanye kazi. Wacha kupika kelele. Tuone mali mambo itafika. Nashukuru Zambia. I want to congratulate Zambia, wamechakua mama as the president. Now in East Africa we have 2 women, Suluhu na tumepata mama kutoka Zambia. I don't know about us, but I know about Zambia now.
Namibia.
Oh, Namibia, thank you so much for kunirekebisha. Yes, Namibia. But it is good wamepata mama, na huyo mama ni kama amekuwa kwa serikali kwa muda. So wacha nisikize Bernard, nikipata chance tena naweza ingia, but niko job huko ndio nimefungiwa.
Okay, sawa mami, asante sana kwa ujumbe huo, tunaelewa na tutaendelea. Fuatilia, ukipata nafasi utu alert tu, utapata sauti tena. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue the conversation, please let's be on the forefront to invite each other. Participate fully. We are here to find a lasting solution to what's happening. What Mama is asking is a very important question, okay? Us coming together and say we cannot accept the panel that has been selected by wherever for the IEBC, when those, wherever, what are they called? Voting process was taking place, we kept off. When we were supposed to suggest names, we did not suggest. When they said we should apply, those who want to be IBC commissioners, we did not apply. And then when those who applied now have been shortlisted, they have been vetted, then we say we don't agree with them. That is the same thing I'm saying, Kenyans. If we don't change the approach, we can't improve on the results. And the only way we'll be part of the change in this country is to be on the table. And to be on the table means if there is something that Kenyans need to decide, put yourself on the forefront and make sure your voice is being heard, your decision is being considered, your view is being wherever put in perspective. Lakini wewe unangoja kila kitu imemalizika, okay? Chakula kimepikwa, chumvi imewekwa, kila kitu imewekwa na unasema hii chakula mimi sipendi. Sipendi vile imepikwa. Wakati ilikuwa inapikwa walisema toa maoni yako. Tuchanganye waru na nyama ama tuchanganye waru kwa kuku. Sema mimi hapo sihusiki, hizo ni vitu zenu. Then wapishi wakaamua wanachanganya hizi vitu zote wapi? Pamoja. Tena wamekuletea wanasema sasa wangeseparate hii kuku kwanza, zijua wafanye hii na hii. Please, let's not be an afterthought country. Let's be proactive. Tukue mstari wa mbele. Haswa those who are leading so-called revolution. You can't lead revolution when you are waiting for everything to be finished. Then you criticize what has been finished. And then you find fault with what has been finished. Where were you when it was being put together? Why didn't you bring up your reservations about those people? Because those names were gazetted. If you had an issue with any of those people, you should have brought up those issues before the decision is made. And so this reactive aspect of Kenyan as an attitude, it has to be addressed if we will have a country where we will have a people that are indeed serious about making Kenya work. If we continue like this, vile tulivyoibiwa 2007, tukaibiwa 2013, tukaibiwa 2017, tukaibiwa 2022, itaendelea hivyo mpaka Wakenya wakati watafika waseme enough is enough. Lakini tukiendelea hivi sahi, tumeingia katika mrengo huu, tunasema sisi ni wanani, mambo yanafanyika hapa chini, hatutaki kuhusika. Sasa IBC inatengenezwa, hatuko hapo. Ikimalizwa tena tutaanza kusema so fulani ndio aliiba, sijui fulani ndio alifanya hii, fulani ndio alifanya hii. Let us take responsibility for once as Kenyans and make this country do what is required to do. Make the government do what is required to do. not to be waiting for things to be done, and then all we can do is murmur and complain. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tunapoendelea na mazungumzo, tafadhali tusonge mbele kwa pamoja. Piga kura yako. Give your thumbs up on the video. Thank you those following on TikTok. Please let me see those likes zikimultiply. Na kama una swali hapo, weka hapo kwa comments tu, tutaweza kukujibu wakati tunashirikiana na Wakenya wa tabaka tofauti katika pembe zote za dunia wanapokutana katika Sound Candy Talk. Asante sana. Moja kwa moja nimlete Lala kwanza, alafu ndio tuingilie masuala ya magavana. Lala, how are you today?
Poa sana Bernard. Hali yako unasikiaje?
I'm doing much better. I'm doing much better.
Good to know.
I'm on the end of finishing my drugs.
God is a healer. We thank God for getting better. It's good to see you Mama Selena and na wenzetu ambao wako huko nyuma. Kwanza kabisa tuna congratulations to our new, I can't pronounce her name, but it is good to see this elegant, wise and beautiful African woman take power. I look at the clip and I was impressed. And I think Suluhu was invited, and to see the two of them address that gathering is just heartwarming. And it feels as if Africans are beginning to really get out of this hang-up which colonialists did on us. I think one of the saddest things that ever happened to us is that the colonialists were able to separate us from the government. See, when you believe something is yours, you protect it. For example, if Kura was money in the bank, I don't think people would have stopped till they get their money. But because Kura is supposed to be government, is something far away from us. That's I would say is a major reason why we have not developed. It's because we see government as something foreign to us, the serikali. So either we say politics is a dirty game, we hear words like that, so we can tolerate corruption, and we think things are okay, not knowing that it's the reason why we are where we are. We are all to blame, but we can see where this came from. It's really the colonial mindset, because the African traditional religion, African tradition, African society embrace their culture. They die for it. They're willing to bet anything for their culture, for their norms. Okay, but this government that we have, where we can allow thieves to do what they want, and nobody seems to care. And I think Wetangulas and the others are just examples of things we tolerate for no reason at all. So I think one of the things that we have to remind ourselves is that we are here to fight bad governance. We are here to fight corruption. We are here to fight tribalism. That's our enemy, not people, not culture, not a tribe. If our enemy is defined by those terrible things I mentioned, then whoever is on our side, we will support him or support her, and be able to demonstrate that actually we want, and we cannot rest till we get a government that we are looking for, a government that is constitutional, a government that we feel like we have elected, who listens to us. Wetang'ula is caught between two worlds. Ni kama fisi ile alikuwa anafuata anafuata nyama pale ama blood, akafika that junction, anasikia huku nanusa something, another huku nanusa. Sasa amekuwa ameanza kufanya nini? Kutembea on two roads. Sooner or later alipasuliwa. Wetang'ula is in the same spot, and it is not based on any principle, but lack of commitment to good governance, inability to be able to see what is needed, and it's really, the man is full of himself. And him plus others are on the same road. It's about them, it's about their interest. They don't care about all of us. So when I saw the women taking power, maybe this is a trend that will save us, because at least a woman will think about where the children are going to sleep, and they're going to eat, what they're going to, a woman will not steal everything, where they want this power here and this one here together. And they don't care what the Constitution says. And we see that happening quite a bit, in our system. And so my hope is that Kenyans will rally around issues that affect all of us, so that we can be one. I sent, I think, a clip there, which was I listened to I watched that clip, and it was really intriguing about the speed they're running. And I hope if you get a chance, you may want us to look at it, but it's more educative of why we should kill this corruption, this tribalistic tendency that separates us, and let us unite our energies. And I'm telling you, no one can beat us. We will win it all. So let me stop there. I'll come back, and back to you, Bernard. So that is my observation.
Thank you, Reverend Lalo. We appreciate that. And ladies and gentlemen, let's take these things we are saying to heart. Just as a reminder, we were here warning Kenya about electing this particular president. It will result into this. If you elect this one, it will result into this. And if we were to claim to be prophets, we have been proven true almost on everything we said. And so I would want us to take serious what you're talking about in terms of the governance of this country. That colonial mindset that Reverend Rala is talking about, where we are so detached from the leadership, and we give now the leeway for the leaders to do whatever they want because the citizenry will not be involved, they are not involved, and they don't care. What we need is to care enough to want to ask, this one you're going to cook for us. Why are you cooking for us this? Why not cook for us that? And this decision, what is informing it? And or if we don't get involved in the decision making, then we must accept the outcome of those decisions, and probably they may not be very friendly on our side. And let me just bring in this a story of the governors and their grievances against the administration, where they attempt to divert monies from counties and give them to members of parliament. It's crazy, but let's just hear it out, and then we'll judge what's happening.
The Council of Governors has issued a 14-day ultimatum to the national government, threatening a total shutdown of county operations over funding cuts amounting to 38 billion shillings. According to county leaders, a significant portion of these funds are conditional grants from development partners, initially earmarked for critical projects, but later diverted during the passage of the county government's Additional Allocations Bill 2025. The governors are also demanding the immediate release of the 78 billion shillings county equitable share, which has been in arrears for the past 3 months. Safina Chiangoma reports.
A crisis is brewing across all the 47 counties as governors issue a stark ultimatum threatening a total shutdown of county operations unless immediate action is taken. A declaration that follows an emergency Council of Governors meeting held in Nairobi on Friday.
The Council of Governors demands the immediate restoration of all the diverted funds to county governments to ensure uninterrupted service delivery, failure to which county governments will shut down its services in the next 14 days.
The governors strongly opposed what they described as unjustified budget cuts by the national government. They accused the state of diverting conditional grants through the passage of the county government's Additional Allocations Bill of 2025, a move they say undermines devolution and cripples service delivery.
From this deduction, county governments will lose a whooping Kenya shillings 38.4 billion of the additional allocations, of which Kenya shillings 24 billion are conditional grants from donors to support critical county projects in healthcare, agriculture, fisheries, water, roads, slum upgrading and infrastructure development.
What is the interest of the national government in ensuring that projects are not implemented in the counties using donor money? It is possible in the next few years to find Kenya having very few development partners who are interested in implementing projects here.
The National Treasury has defended the budget cuts, citing low absorption rates of additional allocations in the current financial year. However, governors have dismissed this explanation, calling it a deliberate scheme to stifle devolution and undermine county governments.
By purposefully underfunding county governments, the national government is creating a crisis, only to turn around and put counties on the spot for failing to deliver essential services.
Najua Wakenya wataumia wakati tumefunga counties, but lazima Wakenya wajue kwamba for now tuko kwa life support machine. Tumekuwa tuna pretend kwamba counties zinafanya kazi vizuri, lakini kuna matatizo mengi sana.
Governors warn that the budget cuts will set a dangerous precedent, one that could deter development partners and jeopardize future donor funding.
As a country, we shall definitely lose because the development partners can see. They know the reason why the monies are going away is not because counties did not perform. They know it's because of the politics that are there that do not make any sense to the donors.
And we are asking that the national government and the National Treasury, who made the amendments, blatant amendments to the conditional grants from development partners, to immediately reinstate these resources and to start demonstrating that they actually do believe in devolution and understand the importance of devolution in service delivery.
The governors have also taken issue with the National Treasury, accusing it of crippling county operations by delaying the release of the county equitable share, a backlog of 78.03 billion shillings in arrears for 3 months dating back to January 2025. With a standoff escalating and a 14-day deadline in place, essential county services could be crippled in the coming days. Safin Acheng Oma, Citizen TV.
The Council of Governors has issued a 14-day ultimatum to the national.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The Ruto administration is keen on diverting funds meant for counties and place them under the superintendentship of the members of parliament. And from the look of things, it is unconstitutional. And I don't see why there can be a determination to that effect. Labda Reverend Lala utatusaidia. What is this that is informing the blatant disregard of law and continued of allocations of monies in wrong places? Because if you deny the counties which are responsible for healthcare, responsible for agriculture, they're responsible for the development of the county, then you want to do a parallel allocations of money in the name of NGCDF, where now the member of parliament is the one doing development. Are we not going to have even duplicate of those developments that CDF is building the classes, the county is also building classes. So at the end of the day, what needed to be done systematically and get sorted, it becomes now stalled programs because the member of parliament started and it didn't finish. The county cannot interfere with that because it's not under the county, it's under NGCDF. So this confusion, is it deliberate? And what's the end game?
Bernard, I deal with mental illnesses, okay? And there's a disease called schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a disease that creates almost contradiction, parallel stuff going on at the same time. The center, you don't know where the center is. Move the center completely, and so you don't know what's going on. To me, it seems as if problem has, Kenyan issues have been going on for a long time. But when Kamago arrived with a new constitution, I call it a new constitution because after the election of Ruto, it seems to me that this new idea of operation was ushered in, where the laws are not needed, structures are not needed. Now, when we talk about parliament as the lawmakers, and then parliament now executing, taking the role of governors and others, then the question is, why do we need the constitution anyway? Okay, Wetang'ula issues and Ruto issues and all these other things. So there's a total confusion because clearly a government can only work if it has a structure that allows it to do the things that need to be done. That's how it can work. But when you don't know the center, then all you're doing is really creating more confusion, and I think we run at the dead end. Let me give you an example. Most cities have a plan that come into operation when there is danger. Let's say a nuclear war or a major, earthquake, whatever it is. People practice on method, on structures, on how to manage such incidents. The city I live in, we have allocated 2 sites, different part of the city, one on the eastern side, another one on the western side. Okay, all the training uses those sites. So if something should happen where I am, I know exactly where I'm going. I don't close town, I go to the other side. I don't go to the side where the problem is. I go because there is this structure, this document that has been worked on, so that we minimize the loss of life. Because what they tell us, experts tell us, is that when there is a major disaster, it's the confusion. Because a teacher may be on the eastern side and their children are on the western side, and then now they start trying to go to the west side, okay, and the teacher, not somebody else comes to the other side, so people get locked in, and that's how people die. Most of these disasters, this is how people die, because there is no clear structure what to do, how to follow it. And now think about this government. The government is big and huge and large and complicated, and so it cannot do without some kind of structure. The constitution is a way, a critical way for us to be able to know what needs to be done so that we can be productive. Kenya is actually doing the opposite. So I'm wondering what's the value of education? What's the value of those KIA people go there to train? What's the value of universities? What's the value of law school and all that? If all we do is do things that even people never went to school will not do. African culture, we had structures. We knew the role of youth, the role of the elderly, we knew the role of women. Everybody knew its place, and that's how we function. But here's a classical example that has been created in the country where the only common denominator is what I would call corruption. It's money. It doesn't matter how you get it, you get it anyhow. So we got a leader that we know did not win, okay, but then we pretend as if we got a government that is functioning, everything is fine, but deep down in our heart we know something is wrong. And so what happens is that people get their license to do what they want to do because they know, after all, they did not get the office the right way. So the structure is broken down. We are in trouble. My brother Bernard and my sister Dadangu Mpendwa, Mama Selina, kwa sababu watu hawatii sheria, hatutii kabisa kabisa kabisa. The lawyers do their own thing, and now you expect people to be healthy. How about our doctors? You want them to work without support from all these other sides, So even those areas becomes a problem. Even now, it will even enter even the food that you eat. You're not sure how clean that food is, because if your politicians are corrupt, leaders are corrupt, how sure are you that you are getting a genuine thing when you go to the store or you go to eat in a restaurant? So it seems as if things are rotting from the top going down. So we must save this country, and truth must be told, including what really happened with the election. We need to do. I'm stuck there because my theology does not take me away from there. When people don't do things the right way, they correct themselves. They got to decide to face the reality, and that's a way to save ourselves. But if we keep on shifting this and that and trying to pretend here and there, hakuna kitu kitafanyika. Tutakuwa tunaenda chini tu. We think we are going up, but actually we are sinking. Vile tu ile inaitwa Titanic ilikuwa ina sink. Watu inaanza kuchukua maji ndani, lakini watu kunafikiria hakuna, hii hawezi kuwa sank, hata Mungu hawezi kufanya nini we sink hiyo ship, lakini inaenda chini. Watu wanacheza huko juu, ukiona hiyo kamuvi hapo wako naye, watu wanacheza, lakini inaenda chini. Na Kenya inaenda chini because of what? Corruption. So I know Baba and the others trying their best they could, and some of the whatever, but at the end of the day, we need to face the truth. The truth is, we are not following what is taking us out of the problem. We don't have a structure. And so back to you, Bernard. Kind of frustrated.
Okay, thank you, Reverend Lala. And you need to check your audio. There is some distortion that there's some cracking of the speakers. I don't understand why. So check your microphone. But thank you for the information. And I think you're well followed by all that are listening to us. Mama, just hold on. We're coming to you shortly. I just want in a minute to give us the verdict of our voting, participate in the voting. Do you think Moses Wetang'ula should step down as Speaker if he remains a party leader? 93% say yes and 7% say no. 30 people have cast their vote. Please, let's participate in the vote. But before you cast your vote, tafadhali like video. We need likes on the video. It helps the algorithm to promote the video even after the show. So react on the video is important. Your comment, your thumbs up is necessary. Mama Selina, karibu.
Yes, Penata Sunday. Nataka kuingilia kidogo mahali Reverend Lala amesema kuhusu we need to know the truth. Na baba amekuwa akisema na hakuna mtu alikuwa ameaikiwa ni ukweli. Lakini baada ya SK Macharia kusema the truth na whistleblower, now it has confirmed what really happened. I'm going where SK Macharia alisema baba hama Ruto atusaidie. Baba vile ameingia ndani, tumekuwa na commissioners. Vile tumekuwa na commissioners, penat, tukue na clean register, hata kama si election ya 2027, baba wakati atakuwa ameretire, awachie wa Kenya mahali kama tunapika kura penat, your fourth count. Kwa sababu sahi in 2 years, it is a short time for baba ama the government kurekebisha ile mambo imetokea after 97. Tumekuwa na 20 years, over 20 years of hiyo rigging kama register ni chafu. So for me Bernard, I support wacha tukue na commissioners, na wale tena wanataka kusema ati wataki wase, sijui wanataka vijana, sijui wanataka nini. They are not serious Bernard. Kama wanataka vijana, ni vijana wenyewe wanatumika, ni vijana wenyewe wanapiga kura. So what we really need as Kenyans ni baba vile ameweka na nilisikia mtu mmoja akishukuru baba. Akasema baba amepatiwa nafasi 14 na hiyo nafasi 14 Bernard amepatiwa wa Kenya. It is not like one side. Uko na 18 cabinet ministers na inatoka one region. So baba amepata ila amepata na amekaia watoto yake yote. Hakuna mahali kidogo kidogo. So mimi pia naunga wale walisema Raila is really nationalist. Chama ya ODM waka confirm. Walikuwa nasema in the morning kwa national, I think it was a show. Na sasa nasema hivi, badala ya kupika kelele, tuungane. Wale wako majority wanasema wako majority, na kifo penat, watu wache kusema ati watu wamekuwa wase wanakufa labda watafika next year. Hayo mambo inakuanga ni ya Mungu. Wala hata tunafikiria tuko wadogo ya 2 days, unakuta umeenda na umewacha ile msee akiendelea tu, nyinyi yenye mnakuja mnaenda, kwa sababu hiyo ni siri Mungu alitupatia. Na Mungu peke yake alituambia tukitenda mema anatuongezea siku. Tukiheshimu hii matusi tuko naye imejaa mtandao, tuokopi wase. I wish you we will reach there. Na hiyo matusi yetu yote unasikia mtoto mdogo anaita mtu msima mchinga, stupid, sijui nini, vitu yenye sisi hata ungeona msee kwa barabara ama mama usimame umchipu. Hata akikuchapa unakimbia ukilia na uwezi enda ambia wasasi wako juu watakuchapa tena. So Bernard, mimi ile nataka kusema ni ukiendelea ni kwamba tulimchakua hiyo serikali wale walichakua. Tumeambiwa na kotini ya kwamba baba alishinda kwa sababu alikuwa na majority. Aituru kwa sababu ni kotini walipatia Ruto na Chebukati alipatia Ruto, na Ruto ameserenda amesema baba kuja tengeneza nyumba yako tutengeneze pamoja. Mimi sioni makosa penat. Sababu ni 2 years and a half imefaki, wacha watutengenezee nje. Na baba ni mzuri sana akiwanga ndani. Anajiwanga kutengeneza akiwa ndani badala ya kukua nje. Atatutengenezea vile alitengeneza wakati ya Moi. And then wanakuja na kitu yenye ilikuwa clear. So mimi naunga mkono, na wale patu wako na tatwisi hiyo ni yao. Na nimefurahia tena kusikia ya kwamba Kachakwa aambiwa Kenya tusaidie tuchakue president. Anataka revenge. Kucheni munisaidie tutoe huyu. kwa sababu alinitoa. That is not a leadership penal. Kama kuna mtu angestahili kuwa ni revenge ni Raila. Alitendewa na Moi akamsamea, Kibaki akamtetea akasamea, Uhuru akamfanya hivyo amemsamea. Kwani ni uchungu gani baba na Uhuru alikuwa na Ruto alikuwa mtoto yake akimsamea? After all, Biblia inatuambia tusameane mara 770. Can we even make it? When the Reverend na Reverend Lala, sisi wale tunakasana na kutusiana, hiyo ahadi ya Mwenyezi Mungu anasema mara 770. Can we even reach there? Thank you.
Asante sana Mama Selina, maswali nyeti kweli na ni muhimu kuelewana. I agree with you. Hakuna vile tunaweza kusaidia nchi hii kwa kulaumiana na kulalama. Mambo huharibika na yakiharibika lazima yarekebishwe. Wanasema kuvunjika kwa mwiko sio mwisho wa upishi. Hiyo ndio misemo ya wahenga na ni kweli. Kama tutapona kama nchi itabidi tubadili nia. Tumekuwa na hii siasa ya uhasama kwa muda mrefu na inaonekana hata wale watu wanajiita Gen Z wanasema hawataki kitu yoyote kuhusu wazee na vile wazee wanafanya mambo. Ni kama wamemeza hiyo siasa ya uhasama. Wanataka tu revenge, wanataka kulipiza na wanataka kutukanana na hiyo maswala. So they are worse off than even the wazees, because wazees walijua kulumbana lakini wanajua ya malumbano ya na mwisho huu. But it appears these people are relentless in terms of damaging and destroying whatever that is left of this country. But to me, I have not seen any convincing approach to that effect in terms of to bomoe, to chome. After that, then what? Are you willing to put down your resources to rebuild? Do you have those enough resources to rebuild? Ama uko tu ring leader, watuchome, tubomoe, tufukuze, I mean, you can't be removing if you have no capacity to replace with what is valid. On the other hand, the cabinet that is being appointed now and all those changes, these are survival tactics. Wanasema desperate at times call for desperate measures. And like I've said, politicians are politicians. They must play politics. If you stop them from playing politics, it's not different from stopping footballers from playing football, okay? Because that is what they do. And so politicians are going to do their politics. You as a Kenyan, what are you doing in saving the situation? What are you doing in correcting what has gone wrong? And so I think we are far from even getting the direction of where the country will be come 2027. We are still in that confusing environment. But for now, I just want Kenyans, wewe ukiwa ukijiita mkutano peke yako kwa nyumba ukiangalia maswala, wewe unaona hii nchi inaweza kuwa fixed namna gani? What should be done? I'm happy that Mama talks about Raila forgiving all those that have wronged him. That's one way. And those of you who are wishing him death, you may just you may go before him. It is that bad. Not necessarily in Raila as a person. I'll give you a short story and then emulate Lala. When I was growing up, my mother used to sell these cooking pots. Zile zimetengenezwa na udongo. And so she used to do that biashara, especially during harvest time. And the price was unajaza ndani mahindi, ile nyungu ile unajaza ndani mahindi, unachukua unaleta hiyo mahindi hiyo kiasi imejaa kwa hiyo nyungu, unachukua nyungu unaenda. Then you had an immediate neighbor who was wherever, not newly married, I think he's been married for a while. I think she has 2-3 children. And they had a father-in-law father-in-law alikuwa mzee kabisa, mzee wa miaka, and he had 3 wives. So we used to see him move from anaenda lunch kwa nyumba ya juu anakuja evening tea kwa nyumba ya katikati, alafu aenda kulala kwa ile ya huko kwingine. But I'm sharing this to let us understand as young people. So this one I had with my ears. Huyu mama alikuja kununua pot na akaambia mama anataka ile pot kubwa, okay? Anataka kununua hii ndogo, anataka ile kubwa, na kwa sababu anataka ile pot atatumia kupikia watu chakula wakati the father-in-law has died. Okay, and then we just laughed it away, and it looked like a joke. But what happened? At that time she was expectant, and so after amenunua hiyo nyungu kubwa ile ambayo atapikia chakula wakati father-in-law amekufa, when she went to give birth, unfortunately she died. So she dies before the old man. She had bought the cooking pot to use to cook food when the old man is dead. So the cooking pot was actually used in cooking in her funeral. So those of you who think that you have an ultimatum, you can call on anybody and kill them anytime you want to kill them, it's unnecessary. And unfortunately, hii maswala pia inatoka kwa wahubiri kama sisi. Kuna wahubiri ambao wamejitolea kupangia watu maneno. Those are, in my opinion, we have not been called for such things. I mean, what is the interest of God on who is the president of Kenya? God can work in Kenya whether we have a heathen for a president or we have a Hindu for a president, a Muslim for a president. God is not limited to Christian president. So hii maswala ya kutumia maandiko na kutumia Biblia kutisha watu, eti Mungu alikuonyesha, sijui Mungu alifanya nini, tuachane nayo. Tuchukue majukumu yetu kama wahubiri wa neno la Mungu na tufundishe inji kwa yale neno la Mungu limesema. Tuache maneno ya self promotion na kujaribu kutumia jina la watu katika kuhujumu haki za wengi wa Wakenya. Kwa hivyo, as Kenyans, let's take responsibility and stop the games. I also want to emphasize the aspect of correct election system. That one, we cannot compromise on it. Kama kuna chochote ambacho kinaweza toka kwa haya makubaliano ya UDA na ODM, tupate electoral commission ambayo itafanya uchaguzi bila external interference. For the first time, we want to have a president we have elected. We don't want these cooked up presidents because it is messing this country. It has messed this country. We can see it. It has messed this country. Do we want to continue in that direction? Now, what ambao mmekuwa shortlisted as commissioners, are you getting there as a solution or you are getting there to be part of the problem? That's something that we must as a people settle down. Wewe ulijitolea uka-apply, unataka kuwa commission, uli-apply ili uende kutengeneza pesa, kwa sababu inaonekana hao ma-commissioner ndi kulipwa wapitishe mtu fulani, kulipwa wapitishe mtu fulani. Hiyo ndio umeenda kutengeneza ama umeenda kutumikia nchi yako, kurekebisha yale ambayo alienda mrama ili nchi isonge mbele? We are stuck in one place because we cannot determine the winners of elections. And there are those who are blaming Raila Odinga for handshake. Handshake does not come from the tree. Handshake does not come from the sky. And handshake does not come from Raila Odinga. If we had free, fair, credible, verifiable elections, there will be no need for handshake. So the problem is not the handshake. The problem is the election. If we can't fix the election, then prepare for handshake. That is it. Because there is no way the minority is going to rule over the majority, okay, when the majority are the ones that won the elections. You can't reverse that order. Is against the law of nature. So wale ambao mko na shida na handshake, mzee wa handshake anapeananga handshake. No, the problem is not the handshake. The handshake is the outcome, okay? The root cause of the handshake is what? Failed election system. If we have working election system, there will be no need for handshake. There was no handshake in 2002. Did we? When we had free, fair, credible election. Kibaki went in office and Kibaki had support from everywhere. It is reported that wanabiashara walikuwa wanapiga simu KRA. Kujieni pesa yenu. Kujieni pesa yenu. Huyu amesema watoto waende shule bure. Huwezi withhold taxes. Kujieni pesa yenu. It was the whole country working to make the country work. So it is not a handshake problem. It is election system failing problem. And until we fix that, prepare for after broad-based, we can have wide best, we'll have extended best and all that until we are willing to bite the bullet and fix that election malpractices that we are using to fix losers to be winners and winners to be made losers. Thank you very much, Reverend Lala. Kama una la kutupa ndani, tupa ndani, alafu tucheze video ingine, tusonge mbele. It's 10 minutes after 1 a.m.
Bernard, let me just contribute, especially touching the church. I belong to a group of pastors. We are the largest in our area here, almost probably 1,000 pastors. We are called United Pastors in Mission. We represent all churches. Most of the at times when we have an issue, sometimes even the Muslims and others do join us when it comes to something really critical. But we are all pastors that believe in Christ, believe in the Word of God, believe in salvation. And because of our group, politicians usually seek audience with us. We don't go to them. They come to us. And even governors and senators and others come to give us a sense of what they are doing. As a group, I don't think there's any president. You see me with all kind of presidents and people I meet and all that. Sometimes I meet them through that particular forum because our understanding is that the church is critical. The church is the voice of God, okay, in a society, and therefore we must remain engaged. So personal interest or interest of particular ideology is taken out of it. For us, we are commitment to the Bible and the Word of God, and therefore we are there to critique these guys. If there's an issue, we call them and we face them. If they're campaigning, we listen to everyone. Bring your agenda, okay? And we allow them to speak in church. In fact, they come to our meetings. We meet every Tuesdays. And sometimes a senator, whatever wanna be, they come to the meeting and pastors might say, come and talk to our people. And you can't only select one group of people, but all of them, and all they are supposed to give an equal chance to present their cases. And of course, if there's an issue that we have an issue with, pastors can weigh in on it. Something that is against or something that would jeopardize the cohesion of the people or against God's, social order, then we can weigh in on it. So there are some challenges here and there, but to me, I think that is the role the church must play in society like ours, or else we continue with what we've seen in Kenya, where a president comes and gives 20 million. And then today I was watching and I see this a church, I think in Western Kenya, are asking, how come it's going to those churches where they have got money? Why can't he bring that money to us here? And this is taxpayers' money, money meant to help a part of Kenya. If you have traveled to Kenya, Pokot and other places which I have, then you know how poverty is. So to see 20 million given to a church to, I don't know to do what, yet people are suffering and dying, just tells you something is wrong with us. Therefore, it is important for us as the people of God to engage and tell these leaders what truth is. Reasons why voting is important. You see, a vote will protect democracy. Democracy means the people, the voice of the people. Their interests are taken into account. So voting is a way to raise our concerns, our challenges, out there. And so it must count. Just like a bank. If you go to your bank today and find your money not there, I don't think you're going to sleep.
Your mic is problematic. Did you restart your gadget?
Oh, you can't hear me now? Can you?
We can't hear you clearly. Kuna vile sauti inakwama.
Oh,
Naomba
okay.
Restart your gadget. You
All
don't
right,
want to miss the point. Thank you.
Back to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to engage, let's focus and let's do what we need to do, and that is make this country work on the way it should work according to the law. One of the problems we are suffering in this country is tailoring the country on an individual. Tailoring the country on an individual. Instead of letting the country function according to the law and by the law, we want to tailor the country on an individual, peg it on an individual, so that that individual becomes the express image for whatever that the country would wish to be experiencing. Now, when that begins to happen, we are bound to end up into a crisis, because tukitengeneza nchi ikae kama Moi, okay? Moi akitoka sasa tuitengeneze ikae kama Kibaki. Kibaki akitoka tena tuitengeneze ikae kama Uhuru. Uhuru akitoka tuitengeneze ikae kama Ruto. Then we will always be starting every time. But if we let the country function by the rule of law, that law remains constant. Regardless of who is in power, that person in power will have to follow that law, and so there will be continuity. They will be adding to what has been done. But if we have to restart every time, there is something wrong with what we've been doing, and that is why we are getting stuck. Reverend Lala, you can now finish your point, and then we play in this video of the Ruto visit in Mount Kenya to warn every itakuwa.
Am I okay now? Better?
Go on.
Is it better? Okay. So reason why we should vote. One is protect democracy, okay? And that is every voice matters. Your voice, my voice, all of us are speaking because we all have a stake in a nation. When you steal that, I think is worse than a bank robber going to get money in the bank and taking it to my home somewhere, and then people let me stay with it. I don't think you would. If you know I stolen the bag, you'll come for it. But for Kenyans, votes means nothing to them, when actually is more than cash, because that is how you protect God-given right to live as human beings, and to protect and to provide for your own, because the nation, a kingdom, has its order, its things, their honors. And so when you give away your right, basically when you don't vote, you are like slaves. There's no difference between us during the rule of Wazungu, walikuwa na tutawala. It is so serious. When you voted all these years, yet your vote is not counted. Somebody sits somewhere, decide for you. That's guys worse than Wakinyonga, when you think about it. So election, every vote matters. In fact, to me, even if the country come to a halt today, so that we can go to another one or go back to the I would go with that. But I hope what's going on now is trying to structure it. But people are people. Human beings are human beings. We don't learn. When we are caught, then of course we pretend. So I think there has to be consequences for some of these things that we do to our election. The voting shapes social agenda. That's how we know where we are as a nation, what needs to be discussed and dealt with as a country. That's how we know ourselves. That's how we build a sense of oneness, cohesion. Or else we are not Kenyan. We are just tribalists, who are together for I don't know what kind of interest, but we are not a nation, and that is bad, very, very bad. And of course, we know voting shapes our economy. African economies are really a basket, and what the reason is because of votes. All the money, all the resources, all the natural, they build the West, the East. Those wealth that become, some of us, and the wealth is that's African gold. Those are African cobalt. Those economies are built on our backs, including slaves. America was built by slaves. White House was built by slaves. Okay, so if we don't vote, what we are saying is we don't recognize our country, we don't support it. So what right do we have to stop these guys from coming? No wonder the Kamagos come and do whatever they want to do. And here we are talking, fighting over with each other over.
As it appears, umetumiwa baga. It is messing up your audio. We can't hear you anymore. But thank you. I think you've made your point. Before Mama comes in, let's just get this story of Mount Kenya. It's 20 minutes after 1 a.m. I think by 2 o'clock we'll be calling it a day, unless otherwise. Kama unala kusema, why tafadhali tukazungumze, alafu piga kura yako, like video, participate fully, invite somebody. Thank you.
President William Ruto hosted Mount Kenya leaders at State House, Nairobi, in preparation for his tour of the region in the coming days. And as Seth Olale found out from leaders who attended the closed-door forum, the meeting aimed at cooling the political temperatures in the region following the head of state's dramatic fallout with his former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, leading to his impeachment in October 2024 by rolling out a number of development projects.
A week after Deputy President Kithure Kindiki hosted 54 MPs from Mount Kenya counties of Laikipia, Nyandarua, Nakuru, Kiambu, Murang'a, Kirinyaga, Nyeri, Embu, Meru and Tharaka Nithi, the legislators were hosted by President William Ruto on Thursday at State House, Nairobi. According to sources who attended the 2-hour closed-door session led by Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, top of the agenda was the scheduled President Ruto tour of Mount Kenya region in less than a month's time. The agenda of the tour being to showcase the president's development achievement in the region to counter the popularity of his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua that is perceived as incitement to the locals. In the meeting, the head of state assured the leaders from the region that Mount Kenya will not be isolated despite the political hostility against him and his government that is seen as being fanned by the impeached former DP and his sympathizers who are expected to boycott the president's visit in protest. The MPs and governors in attendance were also briefed on policy and administrative interventions taken by the government to facilitate the revitalization of agriculture value chains such as tea, coffee, milk, rice, potatoes, macadamia, miraa, moguka, and poultry. The leaders were also updated on interventions made by the national government to secure resources for completion of roads that had stalled, including the Mau Mau roads and the Kenol Marua Highway, major dams for enhancement of water distribution capacity and irrigation, construction of markets, among other projects. The president is expected to traverse Kiambu, Murang'a, Kirinyaga, Nyeri, Nyandarua, Embu, Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Nakuru and Laikipia counties. Key initiatives that will be undertaken by the president during his week-long tour of the mountain include 2 billion shillings compensation of landowners in Karatina for the construction of Kenol Marua dual carriageway, commissioning of the 30 kilometers Mathira Road, a 162 million shillings irrigation project, inspection of the 5 billion shillings Mau Mau roads in Muranga, Nyeri and Nyandarua, and a cabinet meeting at Sagana State Lodge. But even as President Ruto prepares to climb the seemingly slippery mountain for the first time since the messy impeachment of his political nemesis Gachagua in October, some leaders are reported to have sought clarity as to how the ruling party UDA, which propelled the president to power in the region, intends to counter Gachagua's new party, expected to be unveiled in May 2025. The leaders also expect the head of state to explain to the masses why some legislators from the region were removed from the leadership of powerful parliamentary committees and their positions filled by Raila Odinga's allies, as well as the fate of promises he made to the people that have not been fulfilled for more than 2 years since he took office. Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
Now, President William Ruto's nomination of new principal secretaries on Thursday and the creation of 7 new state departments has sparked debate on the dimensions of the rapidly expanding Kenya Kwanza administration and the cost implications for taxpayers, similar to our reports.
And the Secretary General.
The 7 new state departments have added to an already large government, going contrary to President William Ruto's assurance that he will reduce the size of his government. The first of these is the State Department for Public Investments and Assets Management, which falls under the National Treasury and Economic Planning Ministry. The State Department for National Government Coordination, which is under the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, is also a new one in government. The Department for Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Affairs has been established in the Office of the Attorney General, with Judith Pareno of ODM nominated to take charge. The cost of hiring a PS is considerable, according to the Salaries and Remuneration Commission (SRC). A PS earns a gross monthly salary of 819,844 shillings, translating to an annual salary of 9.5 million shillings. PSs also enjoy favorable loan packages, including a car loan of up to 8 million shillings and a mortgage of up to 35 million shillings, both at a privileged interest rate of just 3%. These loans are payable during their tenure in office, adding another layer of financial responsibility to government. They also receive a generous medical package, which includes 10 million shillings for inpatient care, outpatient services, and maternity coverage add to a total cost, though these vary depending on individual needs. In July last year, Head of Public Service Felix Kosgei moved to actualize President William Ruto's austerity measures and wrote to the cabinet saying that the head of state had directed that the number of advisors in government be reduced by 50% with immediate effect. The number of advisors assigned to each cabinet secretary was revised from 2 to 1. Additionally, the number of personal staff attached to them will remain as set out in the Public Service Commission guidelines, being 2 staffers. The expanding of government has elicited public debate, with governance expert Professor Karuti Kanyinga saying such governments are formed by presidents who are in trouble. Professor Kanyinga compares the current broad-based arrangement to former president, the late Mwai Kibaki, who included the late Simeon Nyachae, Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta in his government. He says that the problem is that the broad-based government or inclusive governments undermine accountability, weaken institutions of governance, and are not focused on service delivery. He adds that such governments focus only on managing politics in the short term, with long-term visioning forgotten. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
Okay, mambo ni kama hayo. Nashukuru kila mmoja, naomba tumakinike. Samahani, Reverend Lala, I think the problem was from my end. My speakers were dying off. So, Mohamed hapa na confirm kwamba wewe unasikika vizuri. Shida ni huku kwangu. Lakini I've powered the speaker from elsewhere. I think the hub I was using ilikuwa inafifia. Mama Selina, ni time yako Mlima tunakwea.
Hey,
Tunakwea
Bernard.
kwa amani ama kwa upendo?
Sasa
Yes.
hii mlima kuna kijana ameongea. Niliona kijana akisema yeye ni kijana, asiulizwe yeye ni nini. Na ni nini iko hiyo mlima? Si rais afanye kazi sehemu nyingine. Na akikataa kwenda pia, mlima ni Kenya. Let him go and then we see what will happen. Hii mlima inasemekana usikuje siwakae, lakini rais ni ya Kenya yote. Matisho kidogo kidogo, hakuna mtu ya kutisha hapo. So, afikiria Bernard, they don't know what they are doing. Wacha rais aende afanye maendeleo na watu waambie kama rais asipoenda, rais ingine akichakuliwa apart from Ruto, not from Central, hawatataka mtu atembee huko. Na kwa nini Bernard, sasa watu wasiende mlima na wenye wako inji mali singine ya mali ingine yenye si mlima na wako wasiende pia huko, ama wote warudi nyumbani alafu ikue block, hakuna mtu atakanyaka huko. Asante.
Okay, thank you Mama Selina, maswali nyeti kweli. Mabibi na mabwana, tunapoendelea naomba maoni yako hapo kwa comment section. Likes kwa video, piga kura yako. Very interesting questions but ndio nilikuwa nasema siasa ya uhasama tuachane nayo, tutekeleze tu wakati ofisi. Unajua hata katika masuala ya uchaguzi, kura haziamui maendeleo. Kura zinaamua nani atakuwa kiongozi wa maendeleo. Okay? The elections are only supposed to determine who will become the leader. They are not an investment. They are not shares. They are not, it's just determining who becomes the leader. After that, they have served their purpose. It's candle. When somebody gets sworn in office, he becomes the president of the Republic of Kenya. He doesn't become a UDA president. It doesn't become a Kenya Kwanza president. It doesn't become an Azimio president or one Kenya president. It becomes the president of the Republic of Kenya. And that president of the Republic of Kenya, akona what is his responsibility constitutionally? Mojawapo ni kuongoza hii masuala ya nini? Ya development. And so hiyo masuala ya kusema kwa sababu sisi tumetoka UDA, rais asikuje, I think it's an expression of one, ignorance, and two, it's a matter of posturing for nothing. It's posturing for nothing. And so I think as Kenyans, let's do what we are required to do. Tuachane na hizi maneno ya malumbano na malipishano ambako mtu anataka kulipiza kisasi lakini anataka kutumia Wakenya kufanya hivyo. Tupevuke. I am not for the president going around the country in the name of leading development, in my understanding of national leadership. But if that is what he has chosen as a way of operating and he's chosen is going kwa mlima, basi watu wa mlima wajiandae kumpokea, awaletee yale mazuri amewaletea, yale mabaya amewaletea, mnaruhusa ya kukataa, alafu mambo yanasonga mbele. Lakini swala ya kusema ati you are either with Ruto or you are with Kenyans, it is neither here or there. Okay? Ruto is a Kenyan too. Na Wakenya tuko Kenya wazuri na wabaya. Kama vile kanisani pia tuko na watu wazuri na wabaya. Nilikuwa nasema kwamba hakuna Christian name. Nimetafuta Christian names sijapata. So mtu akasema sijui John, Andrew, Christopher ni Christian names. Nikasema tuende police station, Central Police Station, uone hiyo majina inaitwa. Utasikia John Kamau. Naitwa nani? Christopher Otieno. Kuna hiyo majina. So that is not a Christian name, it's an English name. And so we call it Christian to give ourselves wherever to satisfy our conscience. Kwangu mimi nataka Wakenya wasimamie haki, na hiyo haki iwe ya kikatiba. Na mtu akishakuwa kwa ofisi, we hold him to account. atekeleze wajibu wake. Kama saa hii Wakenya kama wanaenda hospitali hawapati dawa, we should ask it, what is Ruto doing in office without that happening? Wakenya saa hii wanalia ati mbolea ile imeletwa labda haifanyi vizuri, we should ask that. Lakini hii masuala ya sisi kuingia katika uhasama fulani, alikosana na fulani, kwa hivyo tukue katika mrengo wa huu na tuchukiane na mrengo huu kwa sababu walichukiana, hiyo ni utoto. Wacha nisiharibu sana. Lala, unasemaje? I can't hear you, Lala. Check your microphone. No, you need to work on it. It's not coming through. And I don't think it's my speakers.
Asikiki.
Yeah. Just work on that. Just work on that.
But let so hiyo story mko nayo ati iko shida, hiyo ni yenu na mtangoja. Hakuna shida itakuweko kwa hii serikali ya William Ruto, kwa sababu William Ruto na mimi kwanza ni Wakristo, mabibi zetu ni mapasta. Sasa sisi ni watu ya Mungu. We pray to God every day to give us guidance. And I want to tell you people, my relationship with the president is beyond the presidency, is beyond governance, is beyond leadership. Ours is a friendship of 25 years. We are family people. President William Ruto is my brother. We enjoy such a good relationship that issues of governance and leadership can never even come our way. So hiyo mwende mwadike sande vile.
Hiyo inaitwa siasa na wanasiasa. I think we should start a program like that. Siasa na wanasiasa. So ni kipi kilifanyika mpaka kitunguu kikaingia kitumbua? Sahi sasa huyo mtu ni muongo sana. Huyo mtu alitapeli sisi, alikuja na Biblia na hiyo mambo yote. Is it the wives that stop being pastors or the praying that not work? Reverend Lala, work on your microphone. We need you to weigh on this. Mama Selina, you can speak up as
Bernard.
Yes.
Ukweli ni kwamba chuki, unajua mtu niliwaambia uwezi cheka na meno ya wenyewe. Ukicheka na meno ya wenyewe, wakati mambo itakuwa real, unabaki na hiyo yako. Mambo yale Kachagwa alisema yote, anakuwa na Ruto, haiwezi kuwa kama Uhuru na Ruto, Mzee Mukanga atafunga State House, yote analipa. Usuri Mungu siku hizi inasema unalipwa. Malipo tunapata sasa. Tunapata hiyo malipo saa hii. So yale, na utasikia mingi umeweka hiyo moja, utapata ingine na ingine. Alisema serikali yao, na ukijua yeye si kiongozi, siku ile walikuwa naapishwa Kasarani, na unakumbuka tulikuwa tunasema anyang'anywe microwave, asitembee naye, kwa sababu tulikuwa tunataka akisema maneno imeharibika. So that was what was happening, Bernard. So wacha tujue mambo yake, na batu anaitana sasa, anasema kujeni munisaidie tufukuse Ruto. Kama mlima wamekubali kusaidiana na yeye, basi hawa ndio walipika kura. Sisi wengine ni kupika makofi. Asante Bernard.
So thank you very much. There is a twist I'll be reading later on about the whole scenario, which I don't know how it will play out. But Reverend Lala, let's test your microphone.
Oh,
Unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, there you go.
Okay. Okay, I think I lost a train of my thought, but what I was trying to emphasize is the fact that uh, see, there's no church without a Bible. Okay, a Bible is key to our lives as Christians. So when you don't have a Bible, you're in trouble. But when you all have a Bible and you go against that Bible, I think it's even worse. And because what you're saying is, first of all, unadharau the one who gave that, you don't respect that person, and again you do whatever pleases you. So really, you're operating opposite of what you claim, and this puts church in a very bad place because we talk a lot about the devil. He's accused of the brethren. He's a thief. All those bad things about the devil. But when what people can see in the church is hate, is money, as long as you're giving, you would ask, when you know very well that the country is not together. And I even fault these pastors and those who are educated, because they have gone to places, they have seen, how system run and how people with very little, with nothing, yet they're living a higher standard than some of us back home. Okay, many of us, live below poverty when we know very well that the resources are there, but because we don't care, it's stolen. And it starts with election. Election is the foundation. Just like the Bible is the church, election and the Constitution are key to a nation and to realizing the goals of a people. Without that Constitution, and how do we make that Constitution? It is a democratic process. People debate, discuss, and come up with the laws that are good for the land. And when you come up with those laws, and then somebody decides to throw that Constitution away to create their own, bringing in Camargo and the others, I don't think those people deserve to be in leadership. And so whatever is being done now, there has to be a strong voice, whether it is Gen Z and all of us, that Kenya is more important. So whatever we are doing now in the name of having a government to run the show, is we are doing it because we love the nation. Baba is doing it and others so that we can work on some of these breakdowns and bring us to a place where we can have a system that supports all of us. Because at this point, I think there are certain communities that don't even know what government is there for. Okay, thank God for devolved government. At least we see something. You see, you want to give yourself to your nation, knowing what is done for you. If it has helped you with your health, has helped you with your education, it's given you something that you're proud of. Americans are proud. You see them going out there because their country has done something for them. When we elevate corruption, when we elevate bad, negative ethnicity, it's very sad because when Baba was fighting all these wars, where were those voices that now claim to be on the higher road, taking a higher road? Where were they? They were not there. So we people can look at them suspiciously, that these people are opportunists. They're looking for something for themselves. When we are talking here, I challenge all of us to come out and raise our voices, because what we are fighting is tribalism. We are fighting corruption. We are fighting the diseases, things that are not good for us. And all of us, if we come together, Bernard, that's why I want you to show that little video, because it has a hidden point there. That based just the race itself. That guy did analysis of the fastest man and how collectively, if we get this draws, these things that keep us apart, that we can actually get this country where it ought to be. We can do it. We are not even a quarter, even a iota where we ought to be as a nation. Okay, we are not there. And so for us to be stuck here talking about politics day long with negative politics or politics which really do not give us what we are looking for, I think it's very sad, because other countries are beating us. We might say that we are a large economy. Yes, we are, because we have been doing this for a long time. And again, the goodwill of the world has been, on Kenya. Kenyans have enjoyed that stability in terms of no wars in our seat of Nairobi and other places, and that has kept us going. And of course, the geopolitical, challenges that makes actually, whether they like it or don't like it, the rest of the world want to be in East Africa. So at the end of the day, we benefit from that such kind of a arrangement that has helped Kenya. But right now, the truth is, Kenyans must understand, Kenya is no longer enjoying that space it enjoyed for a long time. Whenever you used to hear news, whether it's BBC, CNN, reporting on Sudan, reporting on South, almost up to Zambia, even Congo and others, you hear Nairobi. Nairobi was the place to stand and speak. And so Nairobi was the place they looked to. Now, no, they can do it in Dar es Salaam. They can do it in Rwanda. They can do it in Ethiopia. In other words, the focus on Kenya is gone. The free flow of money and services that used to come to Nairobi, they are gone. The tourism that we were the monopoly of it, now they are gone. They're going to other places, okay? Because usually in the past, people would come to Nairobi in order to be able to go to Sudan. Nairobi was the landing point to cover all these places. So of course, money would be there, hotels have to be there, the Western money keep on flowing, and the East and the rest. But they don't have to do that anymore. Others have caught up. And if we are sleeping, we keep on sleeping, talking day and night on things that really will not help us. We are going down big time. So I just want young people and all of us to have this agency. So when we are doing what we are doing, let our voices be heard. Let us challenge these tribalists and others to stop what they are doing, and let us put our nation ahead of ourselves, and so that we can be able to achieve the goals of this nation. So back to you, Bernard.
Okay, thank you, Lala. You didn't say something about the president and his tours around the country. Now that he's going to Mount Kenya for 7 days, in the pretext that is
Bernard.
Yes.
I mentioned that in the that is definitely wrong. Very, very wrong. Yeah. Traveling all over, very wrong. I gave an example of my job as part of the crisis management team. Okay, the central command is key to running things. Okay, that's where the policy is set, where you decide. So if something would happen right now, I don't go to where the action is. I'm going to the center of the center, because that's where things happen. So if a president is running every day, on top of cars, and when does he work? Okay, I think that question has been raised here. What time does he sit down and plan and use all the resources he has, the intelligence and the communication from every part of the nation, and formulate all that information, put them into policy that can help the nation? What time does he have for that? Okay, coordinate with other leaders and put things together. He has got none of that. No, it's not doing that. It's still campaigning. This is a campaign. And to me, Mama Selina mentioned development. I don't think it's bringing development. I think it's taking away from development because the resources are used. You see so many vehicles traveling, gas or the amount of money spent. People left their post to go and travel with him from all over. I mean, it's sad. It's actually very embarrassing to see how many people travel with the president when actually you come to the West and other places, Scandinavia, see a president riding a bike. They're going for meetings, just few of them. But here they are spending these resources every day. Look at that line. The gas that the amount of money is spent, and you know very well that a Kenyan politician, those leaders, they earn higher than the West. When actually the state that I am in here is the GDP is bigger than all of from Ethiopia to South Africa put together. Just state of Ohio, GDP is higher than all those countries together. Just one. And then you discover that the governor or the president, and Kenyan president or the governor, and more than our governor here in Ohio. Okay? So something is wrong. It's wrong, very wrong. So there are so many chiefs, but very few Indians. In other words, the top is all the money is spent at the top, but it's not for development. It's for people's interest. It's for people's lifestyle. Is to make them look big, buy chase cars, and look, and so that's what we think is development. When actually we have been independent for such a long, long time, and this is what we can show. Okay, so I pray that Baba and the rest will work hard to change this, but our voices must be out. We must raise those voices so that we don't just do tit for tat. This time is your time, that is our time, and all time. It's so sad. Back to you, Bernard.
Okay, so thank you, Reverend Lala. We appreciate that, and it is still back to the same point of PR exercise to get Kenyans to see that something is being done. When they can't feel it, they can't see it, but they are told constantly that it is working, it's on its way, giving either false hope or just endless hope, which in my opinion is counterproductive. And from the look of things, I still see that William Ruto is acting on the same script. Remember when the Gen Z went out and demanded this and that, he said the reason why the Gen Z were angry about the 2024 finance bill is because the communication line of the government was not clear, and the Kenyans did not understand the reason for the finance bill. And so it appears to me that he has given himself to be explaining and talking so that there will be no that deficit of talking about what he intends to do. Let me play this video finally as we begin to wind up. In case you have something to share, please why mapema. In the next 8 or 10 minutes, we'll be closing. And just before I play the video, I want to remind us to help us pay the bills. I want to appreciate one person helped us to pay the StreamYard yesterday. So tununulie tokens tusaidie to keep these lights on. Some of us are too dark. Without this light, you wouldn't see any of us. So please tusaidie kununua tokens na kulipia maswala mengi tu. For us to continue functioning in this studio, it's very costly. So msipo tusaidia, basi tutakwama na tutaki kukwama. Kwa hivyo, you have my details. Please send your contribution. I will be displaying the number shortly. But please, let's act and make a difference. Let's hear this video courtesy of Reverend Lala, and then we do our closing remarks.
But let me leave you with my final example. How many of you know who the world record holder for the 100 meters men's sprint is Usain Bolt. What is his timing? 9.58 seconds. So that means anybody who does 9.57999 will beat him. Nobody has broken that record since 2009. 9.58 seconds. The world record hold for the 4x100 men's relay is held by which team? The Jamaican team. Carter and other people, including Bolt himself. Now, do you know what their score is? Their timing is 36.84 seconds. Pick out your calculator and do the math. 4 men, including Usain Bolt, who clocked 9.58 and holds the world title, 4 men have run in 36.84 seconds. If you do the math, you come out to 9.21. 37 seconds faster than Usain Bolt's world record. So even in his team, he ran faster than when he ran alone. Need I tell you, this is not rocket science, that the speed, the average speed of a team that is together, that is bound together, that understands collaboration, that understands that I don't have to be Mandinka, Aku, Zimbabwean, I don't have to come from Senegal, but if we say we are African, and if we say we are Gambian, and hold one passport together, if we collaborate and work together, we will win, and our speed will be faster than the fastest individual runner in the Gambia. Let me leave you with that, fellows. Run together. Leave these premises with that in your mind. Run together. Make TAF proud. Make TAFLA proud. Make TAF Africa Global proud. And make this our sweet smiling coast proud. And make your families proud, because you understand that none of us is as good as all of us put together. And let's trample tribalism, trample all these things on foot, work together as one people under one God, and bring the levels of prosperity and success that we have never seen. 37 seconds, if only he knew. 9.21 as opposed to 9.58. You can do better when you do it together. I wish you well. I pray God blesses you all. I pray that you prosper in everything that
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. None of us is better than when we are all together. And so the change we need in this country is not in factions. It's not Mrengo who fighting Mrengo who. If you associate with this, you are an enemy of that. If you go greet this one, you are an enemy of that. That is the same old approach that has landed us where we are. Can we cross those lines and get to the place where our being Kenyan and being African and being placing the interests of the country ahead of our personal interests and personal preference becomes something we live by. It's not something we wear over during election time and then we drop it as soon as the elections are over. We must, as a people, embrace the fact that putting the interests of the country ahead of your personal preference is what really helps the country and is what is really needed in this time and age. The other things are all formalities which are not taking us any far. There was probably, this is not the best time to bring up that, but our time is really gone. I just want to encourage us to remain focused. Let's keep active at Sound Candy Talk. We are recovering, and I believe will recover fully. So please usilegee na usingoje kipindi iweko ndio participate. Just take a few videos, share them around, get more people to. We are really lacking behind in terms of traffic, and we can do that if every one of us takes charge and shares the link and gets more people to subscribe, follow our videos, and learn one or two things. I believe what we say here matters and what we say here is valuable. And so let's ensure that we participate in getting more people who really have a liking for political discussions and can profit from this to be constant viewers and constant members of Sound Candy Talk. Otherwise, I want to get to Mama, give her closing remark, and then Lala. And then from there, we call it a day. Thank you. Mama, if you're still there.
Yes, Bernard, I have a question. Nimesikia Reverend Lala na nimeona hiyo clip. Now, Bernard, hawa watoto yetu tunawafunza chuki ama tunawafunza what? Because mtoto akienda shule, Bernard, alafu anakuwa nambamukia na wewe msasi unampigia makofi kwa sababu ameenda shule. Ujamuuliza ulikuwa na mangapi, subject iko aje, kani uelewi nikusaidie ama nikuandikie mwalimu. Now we are talking about Gen Zs. Yes, wako maturity. Yes, wanastahili nchi ni yao. Lakini Bernard, na hii chuki tumeweka hiyo watoto, will they come together and work? Kwa sababu mahali unasema you don't want to see old people, hiyo old people wamefanya nchi mpaka ikafika mahali ilikuwa. They have worked hard for it. Hata hii freedom of speech tunaendelea, kuna watu walipoteza damu yao. But today what is going on? Tuna embrace. But are we embracing them na ukweli ama tunawachochea kumwambia ni nyinyi and then now they are proud, wametupa kila kitu. Ulifanya mzuri, they don't want to know. Mali inji imefika, they don't want to know. Wakati mutawachia vijana inji, hakuna experience, hakuna history, where will Kenya go, Bernard? I think Kenyans, ingawa tunawahitaji vijana, mumewafunza kwanza. Mumeambia vijana, tomorrow you can be a leader. How do you work as a leader? Utakaribisha kila mtu. Mimi ni msee, niko na pesa, ninashikilia uchumi. You don't want to see me. Wewe ni kijana, hata nyumba una, hata gari hauna. Now, utakuja kuniongoza na mali yangu. I have worked hard for my money. You want to trust all the people. You don't want to see them. And they are the one they own these countries. How would, with your leadership, Bernard, yenye unakuja you don't want to hear? Unataka kusema sisi ni vijana, tunataka kuongoza. Tuko na vijana serikali, tuko na members of parliament, young people. Kitu ya kwanza wamefanya kununua masaa ya mamilioni, kununua mahelikopta, kuchenga manyumba. What is the difference with the young other people who are coming? For my question is, kama hatutarekebisha ama kama hatutaongelesha vijana yetu. Niliona juzi katika Samuel akiwa na youth leaders ya all parties. If you like Raila, if you hate Raila, if you like Kachakwa, if you hate Kachakwa, if you like Ruto, if you hate Ruto. They say, let us come together and work on our country. I think that is the way we need to show these young people. Like, kama unitaki, si lazima unitarau, uachane na mimi nifanye kazi yangu. So, mimi nauliza hivi, in 2 years coming, they are the majority. Na atuwarekebishi kuambia, hata kama hao wase wamefanya, kuna wakati walikuwa vijana and they did their part. They are proud up to today. Pena tukimaliza ama tukifunga, tafadhali tusaidia. Unaona kanisa walikataa kurekebisha kanisa, imeenda out of hands. Pastors wamekuja wale si wahubiri kwa sababu hawakucheck, hawakufuata mwito, wakawacha kila mtu amekuwa pastor na ucheuri na pesa na mali na kupanda mbegu sijui na kufanya, until you cannot rekebisha, it is too late. So we want also politics, kwa sababu hiyo ndiye njia naona. Pia tunataka siasa zetu iende vile iko. And these young people, the moment wataingia kwa hiyo serikali, they are human beings. Watakuwa na hiyo tamaa, they want to marry, they want to have property, they want to do this. So, Bernard, kama una push mimi out, na mimi ndiye niko na chakula kwa sahani, nikiweka hiyo chakula, we utaongoza na nini? Asante.
So, thank you very much, Reverend Lala. Response to those as you give your submission.
Asante Mama Selena. Shida yetu bado ni hiyo moja. Na naomba Mungu atusaidie kama Wakenya ili tupendane. Tupendane na tena tupende ukweli na tuishi kama watu ambao wanajua wamebarikiwa. Ukibarikiwa unataka kulinda baraka. And we are blessed with a nation that is beautiful. A nation that is the envy of the earth. Wherever you go, you hear people want to come to Kenya. There's always something beautiful about Kenya. But tunaonekana tunachafua hiyo jina nzuri na matendo yetu kama wa Kenya. Na tunapitia njia ya siasa. Siasa inatuchafua kwa sababu hatujui kupiga siasa safi, kuinua wenzetu na kujenga nchi. Mimi ni mchungaji na Mungu amenisaidia kutembea karibu pande zote Kenya. Nimekuwa kama intern pastor in Meru, nikaenda Pokot huko na nikaona Wakenya ambao wana mahitaji mengi tena, lakini walinipenda. Nilipendwa sana. Wherever I went, nasikia nimependwa kabisa kama one of them. And so Kenyans have the love, but it seems as if this colonial mindset, this depravity of the thinking, yani ubongo sijui ilifanywa nini, ambaye inataka tuharibu, inatufanya tuharibu kile ambacho Mungu ametupa, na kwa sababu kuna siasa fulani ama watu fulani wanajipenda instead of loving a nation. And tena hiyo upungufu wa hiyo bongo inatuua kwa sababu Kenyans development, if my neighbor does well, then I will actually spend little to go and get whatever they are making in that neighborhood. Okay, so the prosperity of every part of Kenya is my prosperity, and even the region itself. Imagine the 24 trillion which is underneath Congo. 24 trillion, that is how much dollars is underneath that land. Imagine that beautiful land is exploited. You know, the beneficiary watakuwa wa Kenya ni sisi, because we will have developed the region and Kenya will tap into it. But right now, the way we are playing our politics, All these resources we have in Africa is enjoyed by who? People in Vegas. They are those money in gambling, those jet people are driving and flying all over. That is basically coming to extract from you underneath your feet your resources, and they go and make millions of billionaires and millionaires. Uh, uh, Imagine laptops and planes and the equipment that are used in a modern time. 70%, I think, is the cobalt, come from Congo, which means you can take a car and drive there and make those millions. But we don't do it because we are busy fighting each other. And even in Kenya itself, we have so much underneath. But the saddest part is that our brains, I don't know kama tunasoma kienda mashule, manake tunasoma, lakini when we come home, what we are doing is not development. So my prayer for all of us, even today, that let us be together. Let us see each other as brothers and sisters. Let us put our resources together. And you know what? Nobody can beat us, just like that video. No one can beat us. God has provided for us a way to win this war, but we are not listening. So my prayer is that we educate ourselves. My people are perishing because of lack of knowledge. Most of us are perishing because of lack of knowledge. And let us learn and let us be together. And you know what? We will do it. We can make it. Thank you, Bernard, for being there for us, and all of you that are on this channel. I'm happy to be part of this team. Thank you, Mama Selena. Baraka nyingi. Asante.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Lala. We appreciate that, and we want to appreciate everybody who has participated in the success of the show. Mama Selena, kama una la mwisho tafadhali kalingamue tunganavong'atuka.
Sina lingine pena, ni kusema asante tu, tuonane kesho kama tutaweza, kwa sababu tunaingia spring, mahali mingi tulikuwa tumefungiwa wakati ya winter sana. So mambo sahi hakuna excuse, ni kuenda kukimbia usiku na mchana pena. Tuko marathon now. Thank you.
So thank you, Mami. Thank you. And on the point of hate and hard-seated disdain of leaders being being entertained by the young people. As young people, just listen and hear well. You don't go far with hate. You can only go far with love. And we are not asking you to love any politician or love any leader. We're asking you to love the country called Kenya to a level whereby you'll be willing to lay down your life to make Kenya a success. If you think that you can make Kenya better by encouraging people to hate and despise the people who have paid their, who have labored before you, who have made it possible for you to be able to express yourself at this point in time, that hate will be a limitation for you. It will hinder you from becoming what you are intended to be. So the best way to go about your quest for a better Kenya, forgive those that have wronged you, embrace the future with a clean heart, with open arms, with an open mind, and work with whoever that is working towards the betterment of this country. One of the things that made the acceleration of the independence program was the Jaramogi Oginga's approach of approaching every community. Every community had their leaders, and they were willing to fight individually. He told them we can't go further like that. So let's come together. Let's fight together. And that togetherness is what brought about our independence. This emancipation we are looking for economic liberation, it will also take us coming together, forgetting our differences, our tribes, our level of education, and all that. Let everybody do their part in ensuring that this country will no longer continue to be a country for the few at the expense of the rest. We must, as a people, pull together and secure everything, because our children depend on the decisions we make. Our children's future depends on what decision we make. And so let us allow that to weigh heavy on us and make us to be disciplined enough to do the right thing, even when we are invited to do the wrong thing. Run away from seats and wherever conferences of hate and maligning and mud slinging. Run away from them. I will finish with this Psalms chapter 1. I say, blessed is a man who does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stand in the way of sinners, nor sit in the seat of the scornful. So this man decides he will not walk in the counsel of the ungodly, or stand in the way of sinners, or sit in the seat of the scornful. He says his delight is in the law of his God. That is where he meditates day and night. It's like a tree planted by the river, whose leaves don't wither, and he produces his fruit in his season. The Bible says, whatsoever he doeth, it shall prosper. So run away from any platform where only is being spitted out is hate, despise, disdain, and all manner of kudarawat. That platform is not helping you. It is limiting you, is hampering you from maximizing who you are and become useful for this country. So wake up and realize that there is a lot that needs to be done. We'll need a clear mind, a clear understanding to get much more done. So tusahau tofauti zetu, tushirikiane kwa pamoja, tutekeleze wajibu wa kuokoa nchi hii kabisa kabisa, turudishe kwa msingi wa katiba na msingi wa kulinda kila Mkenya. Msingi wa kulinda kila Mkenya. Sio Wakenya wengine ni walala hai, wengine ni walala hoi. So walala hoi wafe, lakini walala hai walindwe kwa vyovyote vile. Hapana, tunataka Kenya ambayo inalinda kila Mkenya, inashughulikia kila Mkenya, inahifadhi kila Mkenya na kwa manufaa ya kila Mkenya. So tafadhali tumakinike katika hayo. Until we meet in the next show, I just want us to remember we are paying our bills. Please support us. And then, of course, Frank was here, has been here all week long. He went back to see Shosho. He'll be reporting back in class again on Monday. Let's also support Frank. This is 22nd. We'll need to pay their bills as well. Remember, Frank is our responsibility as Sound Candid Talk. So, tusilege, tusichoke. Wajibu umetuita, basi tuitike na tutekeleze wajibu huo ipasavyo. Probably this will make us think again. Let's just listen to this as we close. God bless you. See you when you see me.
Show me one country that USAID was in and education improved. Show me what country where USAID was in and healthcare improved. The social services they're bringing, it's peanuts. The American taxpayer needs to know the billions of dollars that are being given to USAID, a fraction is making it to the people. Let's look at what HIV/AIDS was used to do. We know of a program that was run out of South Africa where they actually were injecting people with the virus. The reason some of the AIDS virus spread as rapidly as it did in Southern Africa, there were some very dirty games being played on African people. They were using Africans as guinea pigs for experimental activities. Even when you look at every aspect, they're using us as guinea pigs. Yes, there is some good, a percentage of some good, but not all of it is done with good intentions. You look at agriculture, they're destroying African agriculture by introducing those GMOs. You plant your seed in one season, your soil is finished. We used to have seeds that we can use from one season to the other. The introduction of GMOs through these agencies, USAID is one of them. We are destroying Africa in a massive way. A little good is coming out, but by and large, the end result, they mean no good. They can turn around and give us an inventory and say, as long as you have been in Africa and also other parts of the world, show us your success rate. You claim you are helping governments with education and healthcare. Show us your success rate. But I also turn around and say, African governments, why do you need this little aid to assist you in providing proper healthcare, proper education? The average African government can afford to provide those services for their people. Why does such a continent that did so much to help Europe recover continue to be so poor? Let's be realistic here. Let's not talk about peanuts. Africa does not need the aid. What we need is for those who are exploiting Africa to stop. Africa has everything it needs. If Africa could have contributed as much as it did to the recovery of Europe post-World War II, why wasn't Africa equally developed? This is a wake-up call to the African leaders to take inventory of what is really happening in their countries. Do they really need the peanuts that are coming in as aid? What is really going out? If I may use the example of what happened in Niger, when the government decided they were going to take over the mining of their uranium. The French companies that were mining the uranium were paying the government 80 cents a kilo for the uranium, and then turning around and selling the uranium to the rest of the world at 200 euros a kilo. So that one move from the Nigerian government to say we are now going to take ownership of our own uranium, they went from realizing about $1 billion in uranium resources to over 300 billion a year. Do you realize what I'm talking about? No amount of NGO could bring that kind of money. And this is only one mineral. Now imagine the country taking inventory of all their minerals and benefiting from their natural resources like the rest of the countries in the Western world. That is what African leaders need to look at.
Do you see that in the horizon of African leaders right now?
They're
do you see them? Who do you see as the standout winners of that kind of change? And who do you think is still chasing AID contracts?
Let me tell you, we need to look at what's happening in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. President Traore is standing up. He is saying the natural resources in Burkina Faso, they belong to the people of Burkina Faso. Niger is doing the same thing. Mali is doing the same thing. Every leader must look at what's happening in the Sahel nations to say, like anybody else, you must take care of your people. You have your natural resources. You have everything you need to take care of your people. Why do you continue to be beggars? Look at what is being brought in by not only USAID, but all the NGOs in your country. It's peanuts. It's a joke that the African leaders should continue to be beggars of peanuts when you are looking and allowing billions to get out of your country year in and year out, if not trillions, in natural resources that your people should be benefiting from. It is a wake-up call for African leaders to wake up and say, President Trump is saying, US first, America first. You too must say, your country first, because you have everything it takes. It is a joke. It is embarrassing to see I have not seen any African leader cry over USAID living. I can tell you for a fact, the average African leader privately is celebrating the exit of USAID because they know what is really going on.
Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Kipindi cha mahubiri kimerudi tena kwa kishindo kwenye Sound Candy Talk. Tunakufundisha, kukuelimisha na kukutia moyo kwenye Daily Bite. Mafundisho kamili ya Biblia kila siku kwenye runinga uipendayo ya Sound Candy Talk. Hallelujah.